All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Andy Fish Golf Show here on CPL Radio. Blue skies out there today. It looks beautiful.
So we're inside.
We're inside, of
talking
course.
about golf.
Maybe you're watching us out on the links. That's awesome.
I hope so. Right?
Chew up those data minutes there. We're happy with that. So I will turn things over to Andy, and thank you for being here, Andy. And we'll check in. Obviously, as always, any comments, drop them wherever you're watching it, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Andy will try to address it here live. So take it away, sir.
Yeah. If you have any questions as we go, let me know. Today's going to be a little bit more show, less talk. Again, welcome. My name's Andy Fish, PGA professional. I'm here. I'm the director of golf instruction at Elite Sports Club in Mequon, but at the Elite Sports Clubs in Hull. So if you need to see me or talk to me in person, you can get a hold of me there, or just look at Elite Sports Club online and you'll be able to contact me. Also, you can email me at andyfishgolf, andy@andyfishgolf.com. So those are the couple things. Send your questions and I'm happy to answer anything. I've had a ton of questions just about the swing in a hole and how to practice. So I just want to get into showing some more stuff. I want to give you kind of what I think is the basis of the backswing and actually sets you up for your whole swing. And I almost guarantee that if you try it out, you'll see some improvement drastically, and you'll see improvement quickly. In my experience, and I'll just move the camera over here so we can talk a little bit more fully visual. Hopefully I have that. All right. So what I want to talk about is just setting yourself up for a good backswing. And what people kind of don't think about too much is let's say this. We have a lot of instruction out there, and we'll just cover a couple of them. We talk about the one-piece takeaway. We talk about not hinging the wrist so fast in a basic swing. What we really want to think about, and I don't know about you, but I've also heard things about throwing a bucket of water, different things like that. But I don't know about you, but I haven't really thrown a lot of buckets of water, and there's not many things that I do this way. So it's hard for me to kind of think about that or conceptualize it. But what I have done growing up is throw a ball. So when I throw a ball, I just kind of think about how the body moves. And what I want you to focus in on is the right shoulder. So if we throw a ball, once we have the ball in our hand, the first thing that happens is we move that shoulder. That's how we start getting back to throw a ball. And the second thing that we can kind of feel is how this shoulder actually opens up in the socket. It's relaxed. It starts to stretch across your chest here, and the shoulder actually moves back in a relaxed way in the shoulder. So if I throw, the first thing that moves is I feel like I'm moving this right shoulder back if you're right-handed, and you open up the shoulder so that you can step forward and throw. Now I want you to put that into your golf swing a little bit, because when we talk about the one-piece takeaway, and what I see most of the time is I get swings that look like this, and they look pretty good. But if we look at the shoulder, if we take the club away and we come back up here, can you see how this shoulder looks like it's tense? It's up and it's forward. And if we threw a ball like that, we'd say that looks pretty funny. So what we want to do is feel like the first thing that moves back is the shoulder, and it feels like it's opening up. When we do that, what happens is it sets us up for letting the club fall into place on the way down. So the takeaway is really setting you up for a nice relaxed transition so that the club can come back down. What's the number one thing that I see? When I'm teaching, it's this. It's over, or the hands come down this way, the club's up here by the neck on the way down. I can show you about 200 videos where that's the first part, where when people start working on their game, where this is happening. The second you start to feel this shoulder open, the club will start to come down more on plane, more shallow, and you don't even have to think about it. Now we're just kind of talking about relaxing that shoulder right here. So now what are some drills that we can do with that, right? Well, first, I just want you to feel like you could stand right here. You could use a club or not, but let's just drop the club for right now. If we just go here and feel like this is the first move, that we're pulling this shoulder back, and we can put the hand back this way. Shoulder back, bring it up here. It's also a pretty good stretch to feel the shoulder open up and also feel your balance and how you can stay over the ball. But what we're focusing on right now is just moving that shoulder open and back. Once we get that, we can start to feel how the shoulder opens in its socket. If you feel like you get up here and you can still relax it a little bit, I want you to feel that, because then on the way back down, that club will be, if you take video before and after, you will see that you're coming in more shallow when you swing through. Then after that, we're going to take a drill where we take a ball. We're going to get in our golf posture, and this is a pretty common drill, but we're going to focus on it just a little different. We're just going to throw the ball where the ball would be if we were golfing. So we're going to take this back and then throw it onto the ground right where the ball was. But you can see that I'm opening up my shoulder and relaxing right here. Now when we go back, you start to see how that 90-degree angle starts to happen just because we want to throw this way. So it's here and throw the ball down. Do it nice and slow, open the shoulder, throw the ball down. Now, after we do that a few times and feel how that shoulder works, I want you to take a few slow swings with the golf club. Open the shoulder and then back down. Open the shoulder, club back down. So once you start feeling how that opens up, you'll start to feel like it can relax and come back down in a little bit more shallow way. We're not focusing on the shallow. What you'll see though, if you take a video before and after again, is you'll see before when you were tense, shoulder was high, club wants to come steeper down. I'll just isolate on the right hand. Tense shoulder, I'm just pulling my shoulder up towards my ear a little bit, and it's not back in the socket. And now you'll see that it wants to do this. Now I'm in the same place. Now I'm just relaxing the shoulder and opening it up. And now you can see it wants to come a little bit more down from the inside.
If you don't mind me asking, Andy, there's so much going on with a golf swing.
Yes.
I mean, there's just, if you broke it down into all the individual pieces, you may have up to 10 to 15 different things going on.
Yes.
Mentally, how do you put that to, because that, I remember that. It's funny watching you with the backswing today. I remember taking some golf lessons, then being overwhelmed by the amount of things I have to think about with my swing.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's jump into psychology just for a second. It's if we can create a construct, and think of a tree, branches of a tree, or there's some old ways of remembering things, what they call the memory mansion, where you start to create like a construct of something. And once you can, then those little pieces can fit in there pretty easily. Great example is if I say car, everybody has a car that just comes into their mind. If I say truck, it instantly changes to truck. If I say blue truck, it turns into a blue truck. That didn't take a lot of mental effort to jump around there, because your experience with cars, trucks, blue, you can jump down these different pathways of your construct and jump to it pretty quickly. That's half of it. So just experience with it. The other half is keep it simple. So the simplicity of this, I'm over explaining exactly what's happening because I want everybody to have kind of a deep construct on how the body moves. But at the end of the day, if all you do is start it with the shoulder and relax, your golf swing's better. We don't have to think about anything else. If we just go back here, relax the shoulder, let it open up in the socket, and we come back through, it's going to come back in a better plane. If we think of things that we've done before, tennis, throwing, all those things, you feel how that shoulder leads the backswing. The shoulder leads the turn. We don't feel like the turn is the static and stiff thing. We're actually pulling this right shoulder back to create the turn. We're not turning everything back. And especially what we're getting rid of is this, taking the club head back with the wrists. When I use the shoulder, you can see how That stays in front of me. It is a one-piece takeaway. I'm not rigid or stiff though. I'm actually just leading it with the shoulder back here opening up and letting it come down. So that's a great question. Lots of things to think about, but if all you did for the next month, and we'll talk about this at the end about setting up a good practice routine, for the next month, if all you did was try to keep this right shoulder relaxed and not think that just because you thought of it and you focused on it one time that you already got it, you could be doing it completely wrong. So keep focusing on it, keep practicing it. There's actually just a very few skills in golf that we need to focus on. They're parts of it, and I like to explain the construct because, well, people love information, but at the same time, if you have a good understanding of how it all works together, then all of a sudden it all fits into its pieces and it doesn't get so complex. So that being said, if we can just sit here, pull this shoulder, the right shoulder or the back shoulder back, right shoulder if you're right-handed, pull it back and let it feel like it opens up in the socket. That's going to get you in a place that you do all your other athletic things, throwing a ball, playing tennis, batting, all these things are going to be because this opens up here and that we can bring the club back down in an easier way. Now, that being said, the practice, I like just feeling that, opening it, then starting to feel like you throw it because now that puts your arm in a better position and you can just really feel this. The drills are simple. The concepts are a little complex, let's say, but that's to build that construct for you. The drills are simple. Come back here, throw the ball down. Back here, open the shoulder, nice and relaxed, throw the ball down. Get the club here, make sure this is relaxed, let it swing down. So the drills we want to keep very simple. We want to see that we can feel something that we can repeat, and then we do it more than we think we should. Once you think you have it down, you're about 20% in. So you still have 80% of practice to go after you feel like you've got it. Make it your own, make it feel good, make it feel natural. And when it does, everything will fall into place a lot easier. So let's talk really quick about setting up a good practice. Most people, if I'm going to start any place, most people have about an hour a week. You might have more or less. But if you have an hour a week to practice, then I would say take that hour, break it into 4 parts. Call it 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, I don't care. But break it into 4 15-minute segments. One of those segments is going to be putting. One of those segments is going to be pitching and chipping. One of those segments will be driving. And then the other segment will be either the full swing or whatever you need to work on, one drill. You can take those segments and see if it's a very simple drill. So let's say it's the chipping drill that we talked about last week where we just let the club come back down and brush the grass. That can be a 5-minute segment of that 15. So that in your chipping, you might start with 5 minutes of that. Then you'll chip a few, then you'll pitch a few, and that's your 15 minutes. The reason I want you to do those 4 segments like that is because let's say this week you only have 30 minutes. Well, pick 1 and 2, practice those, next time 3 and 4. Then you'll always have kind of a list of what you're doing, and let's keep that pretty solid for at least a month, if not 2 months, because that's only 4 hours of practice or 8 hours of practice. Not a huge amount, but at least you can focus on the skills that you're trying to accomplish in each of those areas. The reason I pick out those areas for most golfers, most people watching this, most average golfers, and better than average golfers, you're going to see the biggest ROI from chipping and pitching, then putting, then driving. And I would even argue that driving might be above putting. We talk a lot about putting being super important, and it is if it's not a great skill of yours. But even if you're pretty average for your handicap in putting, then pitching and chipping and driving will definitely give you more ROI than the rest. So what I have to say is just take an hour, write down on a piece of paper, take 1, 2, 3, 4, cut it into 4 sections, cut it into putting, chipping and pitching, driving, and then whatever else you need. Let's say it's sand or some other specialty shots. You can even put sand in the chipping and pitching if you want, but take 5-minute segments in each of those and break down your drills. Some drills will take the whole 15 minutes, and that's fine. But break those up into parts so that you can mix and match throughout the week. Let's say you go this week, like again, 1 and 2. Then then later in the week, you have a half hour, and 3 and 4 you get. So then you know that you're covering everything, and you have something in front of you that you can kind of evaluate. Am I getting better at this? Do I need to switch a drill? Do I need to rewrite this a little bit? But at least give it a month, maybe a month and a half. So 4 to 6 hours of practice before you start tweaking it. Because we always think that we get better at skills, and we're like, this isn't working. Well, maybe you just haven't practiced it enough. So get patience, work on that. And then once you have that, what I do is I just take my phone and put it in the notes app, and I'll have practice, and I'll say, segment 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll have the drills, and then I'll know I did it on this day, I did it on that day. Now I need to do the other stuff. So it's really easy for me, and I would guess everybody, but it's really easy for me to just say, hey, today I'm just going to work on this. And then I'm 3 weeks down the road and I haven't practiced putting at all, or I haven't tried to hit a shot that's been giving me trouble. I haven't done that at all, or I'm only practicing that. So hopefully that helps you divide out everything to get a good feel for that.
Question on that one, Andy, for a sec. Yeah. Is there an overemphasis on the driving range? It seems like everyone's like, hey, I'm going out to the range for an hour. Can you overdo it? Can you overkill it on that side?
Yeah. So when you fatigue, you are doing probably nothing good at that point. Sometimes it actually helps. So I'm going to talk around in a circle here a little bit. But when you fatigue, it's going to change, right? Some people are so tense that when they fatigue, it actually helps their swing. And by the end of it, once they warm up and just start freewheeling it, it gets better. Some people, you overdo it. But when you overdo it, when you're just beating balls and not mentally in the game and not mentally focused. Now, it doesn't have to be super intense and all that, but if you're just up here just swinging harder and harder, trying to hit the ball and trying to hit it further and further, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, there's a little bit there for repetition, so you can kind of just get a groove, but I think you kind of need to pick a target, slow down for a second. So when I do my practice, if it's planned out, you're not going to overdo it. You're going to leave actually feeling pretty good and saying, I wish I could hit a few more. It's okay to leave because you need to let this stuff soak in a little bit mentally. And then after you hit a few, have a good practice session, and you leave, then you'll be able to process it at home, think about it, leave it so that it was still fun, not super frustrating when you left. It might be frustrating sometimes, but if you don't overdo it, it'll at least be only a little frustrating, and you'll be able to come back.
I remember getting angrier and angrier at the driving range.
That's it, right?
Constant rising of rage.
Constant, and then frustration. And I won't go way into this, but I'm a big believer in this. The second you start getting angry or anxiety or getting frustrated, your cortisol levels go up, and that kind of shuts your brain down. You're higher thinking, and you just kind of do base thinking. And what that is you're just really not thinking anymore. A great example of that is, let's say you just totally mess up a hole. You get up on the next hole and you absolutely hit one of the worst shots you've ever hit. You're just not even in the game anymore. Your brain's not even focused on what you're doing anymore. That's why sometimes we get those troughs in the golf swing, or the wheels come off. We talk about like that. The wheels come off because we let those frustrations come up. We act out on those frustrations at the range. We get all mad and start hitting. Well, we're actually not doing anything at that point. Your brain's shut down. You're just swinging a club. You're trying to beat the ball. You're not really processing. So again, if we can organize it, and we can say, I'm going to be doing this, 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 and this. I'm going to be doing these drills, whether they're successful or not. I'm going to have patience and keep coming back to these drills. And what I'm going to do is just have that be a process where I know how long I'm going to spend. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm just going to focus, and then let those experiences and the patterns that we've had with our motor skills, we're going to go home and let it kind of soak in, where our brain's going to process it and kind of define what that is for us. And then when we go back, we can build on that. But when it's just wasted practice. I don't know, maybe you could hurt yourself if you're doing it, but for the most part, it's just, just wasting time. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, I'll just really go over it again really quick. The right shoulder in the backswing works like throwing a ball. The right shoulder is the first thing that moves. It opens up, it's relaxed, and then we go ahead and we can throw a few at the ground like this. That'll teach us how to open that shoulder up and bring it back down. And then with the club, we're going to feel like we get up here. We're going to feel that this is open. What I mean by open, there's a stretch across here. And when we get there, then we know that that shoulder is relaxed and open. What it's going to start to look like with two hands is that we'll get a rotation on this arm back here because this is able to open and get back here instead of all tense up here. So we'll start to feel like we can get that arm in a better position. And then just divide out your practice, throw it on your phone, notes app, boom, boom, boom. Divide it into 5-minute sections. If you don't want to get that complex, then just do 4 drills for your 4 different areas of your game. Go out and do them, 15 minutes each, set a little timer, don't go over, focus, try to make every shot count by what are you trying to do? Did you do it? Yes or no? Keep trying to do it, and then move on to the next thing. So like I said, there's just a handful of skills in golf, but there's a million ways to talk about those skills.
You familiar with the Pomodoro approach, the little tomato timer, whatever they have?
No.
Writers use that. It's like a 20, and you can find an online version too. Basically, it's 20 minutes of concentrated practice and then rest, and then 20 minutes and rest, and just repeat that until, and just breaking it up like that. That actually helps a lot of writers I know who get paralyzed by the thought of, I got to write a novel. Just do 20-minute segments.
I've only been playing this game for 46 years. So I'm starting to close in on what it is. But yes, I think the same trepidation and the same, like, oh my God, this game has so much to it. Right, it can be a little overwhelming. I think it's about the same thing. So how do you embark on this route? I love that idea. And especially the rest in between. Obviously that's a little on the mental side, but golf's mental, about as mental as you can get. The ball's just sitting there. So I would say that sounds like it's a great parallel, a great way to do it. Just segment out your time and then take a breath. Just take a little breath, take a little relax, walk around, and then start your next segment. I like that a lot.
Cool. Excellent. The radio boy brings a good tip for the golf show today. Go figure.
Thank you very much. All right.
That's how we do it. As usual, you can find the show here on all the sources we have on the Cedarburg Library Facebook page and the CPL Radio YouTube and Facebook page. And thank you so much, Andy, for bringing your stuff. I know you're going to have an in-person thing here and hopefully in June, and come on out and meet the host and bring your questions. And even if we're off the air, feel free to drop your questions in and we'll get them here somehow. So
100%. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks everybody for showing up again. Andy Fish. Andy at andyfishgolf.com, or you can see me at Elite Sports Club, and just go to the website and you'll be able to contact me there.
Sounds good. All right, Andy, we'll see you next week. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take care.
Bye.